Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport today. And by Energy Sage. Plan your own energy independence and insulate yourself from rising energy costs. And by you. Stick around to find out how to keep us 100% independent. Welcome back to another episode of TEN Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're safe, well, and with someone you care about who also cares for you. We start today's show with the official launch of the new Mercedes-Benz GLA, the smallest electric Mercedes-Benz in its refresh lineup. Offered in three configurations, the GLA 200 Electric, GLA 250 Plus Electric and GLA 350 4MATIC Electric, the entry-level GLA is powered by a 165 kilowatt rear-wheel drive motor and 58 kilowatt-hour LFP battery, capable of charge rates of up to 200 kilowatts. At the other end, the GLA 350 4MATIC puts down 260 kilowatts on all-wheel drive with up to 320 kilowatts DC fast charging from its 85 kilowatt-hour NMC battery. All models share an 800-volt architecture, so even the entry-level charges fast, and all offer towing capability. Benz claims a WLTC range of between 394 kilometres, 243 miles, and 657 kilometres, 408 miles, depending on spec. Prices start from just under €48,600, putting it in tight competition against the BMW iX2. Talking of BMW, it's been busy this week in the EV world as well, announcing its long-wheelbase version of the X5 family of vehicles, including its iX5 EV for the Chinese market. You might think the iX5 long-wheelbase gets a few extra millimetres of length over the standard variant and be it, but BMW has pushed the boat out, adding a massive 8K entertainment screen for the rear seat passengers alongside power, fully reclinable rear seats. It also promises a range on the Chinese test cycle of 1,000 kilometres, just over 620 miles. As a Chinese-only market vehicle, most folk won't get to experience the extra luxury, but over in the US, the standard iX5 is soon due to enter production, and this week BMW gave a first look at its Plant Woodruff facility in South Carolina, which will begin series production of that vehicle's monster-sized battery pack, larger than some electric pickup trucks, from December. The iX5 effectively replaces the outgoing iX in BMW's stable, and the price? It's going to be expensive. There's been a long-standing trend in the auto industry where automakers promise semi-autonomous functionality only to soften those promises after sale. Volvo has just become the latest to do that, although for reasons outside of its control. It's dropping a Lidar for good on its flagship EX90 SUV and ES90 sedan, after planned advanced driver assistance features built around the sensor never materialised. But this isn't really Volvo's failure. It's the fault of its former Lidar supplier Luminar. Volvo terminated its Lidar supply contract back in November, citing supply chain risk and Luminar's failure to meet its obligations, and weeks later, Luminar filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Rather than leave owners with dead hardware and no explanation, Volvo is compensating them with cash payouts and credit packages, varying market by market. And before Tesla fans start crowing about a win for vision-only systems, don't. Even without LiDAR, the EX90 still runs 5 radars, a dozen cameras and 16 ultrasonic sensors. And so far, Volvo's semi-autonomous systems are proving robust with the sensor fusion suite it still has. Regulars to the channel will know we love keeping tabs on the growth in renewable energy around the world, and this week's just released figures from the US EIA, reviewed by the Sunday campaign, show significant growth. The US generated 10.1% more renewable energy across its electrical grid during the first 5 months of the year compared to the previous year, with utility-scale solar growing 21.6% year-over-year, small-scale solar up 12.8%, hydropower up 10.8%, and wind up 4.8%. Moreover, the total output of wind and solar during the first 5 months of 2026 was 57% greater than the total output of the US's remaining coal plants and 26% more than nuclear power plants. And in case you're curious just how much of the grid was powered by renewables, the total tally, including biomass and geothermal, was 30.3% of the total US grid generation. Add in nuclear and non-fossil fuel is the dominant force. By spring 2027, renewable capacity will surpass natural gas, with battery storage predicted to increase 48% over current levels by June 2027. Retractable door handles, be they electronically or mechanically operated, are becoming a common sight in the EV world as they help reduce aerodynamic drag and improve efficiency. But as several well-known cases around the world have demonstrated involving many brands of car, they can sometimes prove dangerous in the event of an accident, failing to properly allow occupants to exit or hampering rescue efforts. We've already seen the PRC enact a ban on flush door handles, and now the US NHTSA is starting the process of implementing new safety rules regarding the design, operation and testing of flush-fit door handles. While the US federal government recently denied a petition to investigate Tesla's Model 3 door handles as a specific safety defect, it committed to a broader rulemaking process aimed at mandating a robust, obvious door egress system across all vehicles. At this time, I doubt we'll see an outright ban, but I do expect a standard to be developed covering emergency exit use. As we just dealt with a few US-centric stories, let's stay there a little longer, namely the world of legislative nonsense. In a week where the US saw more attempts to enforce the president's will by any means necessary, a new bipartisan bill was introduced on Capitol Hill that would ban any automaker whose shareholders are more than 15% Chinese entities, effectively banning Mercedes-Benz, which has about 20% Chinese shareholders. But it's okay because in deep red Florida, where legislators are happy to dump EVs, the state is diverting nearly $200 million in federal money, originally earmarked under the Biden administration for EV charging, into 32 flying car pads at $5.6 million a pop for a technology that isn't even commercially available yet. Florida's even offering to cover the required matching funds itself, something states have otherwise left private companies to pay for their EV setups. As one clean energy advocate put it, the money is being hijacked from what would benefit everyday drivers and handed instead to the ultra-wealthy for emergent technology only they will be able to afford. And on top of that, the federal government just used an old solar farm environmental review process to wave through a new AI data center near the Hoover Dam in Nevada, not adding a data center next to new solar, but swapping it out entirely for an already approved solar and battery project. Because who needs the natural world and renewable energy when you've got Skynet? Apparently. BMW's newest EV lineup, all built on the Neue Klasse platform, are proving extremely popular with buyers thanks to their 800-volt system architecture, efficient drivetrain and long range. Demand is, in fact, so high right now that BMW has added a second shift at its Hungarian plant to ramp up iX3 production, with orders on track to hit 100,000. And in a separate confirmation this week, BMW says iX3 production will also soon kick off at its Mexico plant for the Americas market, starting next year. And with the iX3, i3 and iX5 all coming to market, BMW's previous models, including the iX and i4, are on their way out. But according to BMW blog, the i4 nameplate will effectively live on, not in a new electric sedan, but in the form of a new drop-top cabriolet expected around 2028 and closely related to the i3's Neue Klasse platform. Details are pretty sparse right now, but cabriolets have been an important part of BMW's stable over the years, and the idea that we could be about to get a proper performance drop-top with BMW Neue Klasse performance chops, that fills me with a significant amount of excitement. What about you? On last week's show, I gave you the disappointing, yet completely expected news that Honda was discontinuing its GM-built Prologue EV at the end of the 2026 model year. The latest in a massive line of North American market EVs to get the axe since President Trump returned to office, Honda is playing the now expected game of blaming its EV decisions on customers as EV sales soar everywhere except the US. And this week, as Business Insider's Ben Shimkus noted, Honda has wasted no time in recommending people switch to a hybrid for their next car. At the bottom of all of Honda's automotive statements throughout July, a section entitled "Consider What's Next," meant to promote Honda's newest vehicles, simply tells customers to consider a hybrid for their next new Honda. Given that many Honda customers went beyond a hybrid and went fully electric, that statement is already raising eyebrows among EV fans and existing Honda drivers. I'm guessing Honda can look forward to losing those customers in the not-too-distant future. The claims being peddled by the auto industry in North America right now, namely that nobody wants to buy an EV, have been laughable at best and patently false at worst. And while the US is stuck in a hell of its own making, the rest of the world is moving on. Sales data published this week for Q2 from the International Energy Agency shows that plug-in vehicle sales, EVs and plug-in hybrids, soared in the quarter, jumping 35% from Q1 and setting new records in 50 countries, even as global car sales fell 5%. Australia, Brazil, India, Korea and Vietnam saw sales roughly double compared to last year, with other markets hitting record market shares. China's EV sales are set to stagnate for the first time this decade, though stagnate still means over 60% of new cars sold there are electric. Dramatic US policy changes, axed tax credits, weakened fuel rules, and states like my own in Oregon piling on new EV mileage fees have crushed sales, and the IEA wastes no time calling out the real cause. It's not buyers. Overall, EV sales are predicted to hit 29% of total car sales worldwide this year, 1 point higher than it originally projected back in May. Let's finish this segment with some more news worth celebrating, namely that whatever you might be seeing on YouTube or Facebook, and there's a lot of AI-generated propaganda there these days, EV owners are overwhelmingly happy with driving electric and don't want to go back to ICE. The third annual study into EV owners this week by CDK Global shows that 90% of the 552 owners questioned said they plan to buy another EV when it comes time to replace their existing car, up 8% from the same period last year. Moreover, an astonishing 94% of respondents under the age of 60 said they'd buy another EV. Interestingly too, 84% said they'd purchased new, 73% say they always own at least one EV, and more people purchase their EV than in prior years. 84% questioned said they'll have at-home charging, 17% said doing so was a hassle, and 38% of non-Tesla owners said they purchased their EV for environmental reasons, while only 25% of Tesla owners said the same. As for happiness, 94% said they were happy with their purchase, with 79% saying their EV was the best car they had driven. That last fact ties in nicely with JD Power's latest just-released Appeal study, which gauges owners' emotional attachment to their vehicles. The headline: EV owners are on average way happier with their purchase than diesel, gasoline and hybrid owners, with EV owners scoring an average of 910 versus 850 for other fuel types on a scale of 1,000. Our recall reminders are coming next, but first, a message from our most important channel sponsors, you. As one of the oldest and most independent YouTube channels in this space, we've spent over 15 years distilling cleaner, greener, safer, smarter and more equitable transportation and energy into the information you need to make informed choices. We don't believe in paywalls and we don't give companies editorial control. That means no paid partnerships, no sponsorships from companies we cover or whose products we don't genuinely believe in. So especially in an age of AI slop gobbling up ad revenue, our primary income is you. We are a small channel, 2 full-time staff and myself, and I don't pay myself. But the costs of staying independent aren't small. payroll, health insurance, and of course, bills. And you can help us remain independent and cover them all from $1.50 a month on Patreon or YouTube, via Ko-fi, or a one-off donation through our PO box, or buying something from our swag store. Right now, your help would mean more than ever. My wife, whose salary covered our household bills, lost her job back in June to corporate reshuffling. She's interviewing with some good leads right now, but we've only got a few months of buffer before some tough decisions about this channel and our future will need to be made. If you can help, the team and I would really appreciate it. Thanks. And now it's time for our recall reminders. As usual, you'll find links to all of the recalls in our show notes. International is recalling its EVSB and CECB electric school buses due to faulty body panel joint attachments. Fleet operators will be notified of the recall process in due course. All-electric Vision school buses and Vision transit buses, both made by Bluebird, are also being recalled due to a potential brake fluid leak that could cause a loss of braking function in affected models. And Hyundai is recalling around 40,000 Inster EVs globally to address a potential fire risk caused by an internal defect in the central three-way valve of an affected car's thermal management system. And those were your recall reminders. Now it's time for our news shorts, and as usual, you'll find full links on our website at transportevolved.com. Volvo has trademarked the EX50 EV nameplate for use on a future vehicle. The trademark was filed in Europe in the middle of July, the same week that rumours surfaced that it's looking to bring a new electric sedan and wagon to market. Saudi Prince Alwaleed has publicly disclosed this week that he has a 5% stake in Lucid. The news caused stock to soar by 25%, boosting Lucid just weeks after unconfirmed rumours caused instability. Kia has confirmed that its flagship model vehicles, including its electric vehicle family, will get sibling brand Hyundai's Plios in-car infotainment operating system from next year, with other models to follow after. Tesla, despite making its own solar cells, just signed deals to buy 640 megawatts of solar and 360 megawatts of battery storage in Texas and Arizona, mainly to power its massive AI and robotics push. Factorial Energy has announced a new strategic alliance with SK On that will see the two firms work together to assess how the two could use SK On's production tech to mass-produce solid-state battery cells. Mitsubishi has confirmed this week that the new Eclipse EV, a rebadged Nissan Leaf, will launch with a dual charge port in North America, a NACS port on one side and J1772 on the other for low-speed charging. Lawmakers in Massachusetts are working on a new framework for e-bikes and scooters that would redefine legal classifications and what can and can't be used where, rather than outright ban them. Kia has officially opened the pre-order process in Mexico for the EV3. Kia plans on producing the EV3 locally for the Mexican market, with eventual expansion into the US and Canadian markets. Meta has continued its descent into enshittification, ending its global renewable energy pledge the very same week it confirmed funding for 10 new gas power plants to keep its mega server farms running. The Leapmotor A05 electric hatchback is now officially on sale in China, offering up to 317 miles or 510 kilometers of range for an equivalent price of $7,400 US. It even has optional Lidar. Transit operator GZM in Poland was celebrating the commissioning of 31 new electric buses this week across its fleets in southern Poland. The buses will operate in 4 different cities. Laos has halted the importation of both gasoline and diesel-powered vehicles into the nation until the end of the year. It's part of a government-sponsored attempt to accelerate EV adoption. The Volkswagen ID Polo's entry-level variant, the ID Polo Trend, is now officially on sale in Europe. It's priced from €24,995 and comes with a 37 kWh LFP battery pack for 323 kilometers of range. BYD has confirmed pricing for its new flagship Denza Z9 GT sedan in the UK. Promising hypercar-like acceleration, it will be available from £105,000 sterling for the battery electric variant. The Auto Plus EV subsidy programme has been given official approval to begin operation in Spain. It offers tiered incentives for private buyers and businesses alike for new or used EVs, with businesses using leasing or renting required to hold the vehicle for at least 3 years. A research programme made up from multiple academic institutions in Germany has shown for the first time that lithium-metal cells lose lithium to their copper current collectors as they age. The discovery will help improve battery longevity. Aurora has deployed its second-generation autonomous trucks in the US. It plans to deploy the new fleet across its commercial network, spanning 10 existing driverless routes throughout the Sunbelt. But frustratingly, they're not electric, they're diesel. Thailand is considering a new EV incentive program to accelerate the adoption of EVs in the nation. The subsidy program will be worth around 24 billion baht. Transport Scotland has announced a new funding programme worth just shy of £2 million to help small and medium-sized haulage firms plan their transition to zero-emission HGVs and build the skills needed to support them. BMW has confirmed that some iX1 and iX2 variants now qualify for the UK's full electric car grant. This effectively knocks £3,750 off the sticker price, meaning the two are available from £33,315 on the road. Hyundai and Kia have announced a new product called All Day Energy. It combines previous charging products into one service, covering smart charging, V2G and V2H functions. The Government of Australia has announced a new $30 million Australian funding programme to support 14 smart grid programmes, including 2 focused on EV V2X technology. The Schwarz Group in Germany has told employees eligible for its company car programme that EVs are temporarily off the list for new orders in Germany, citing concerns over low residual values. The African Development Bank has approved a loan worth €100 million to Gotion Power Morocco that will enable it to produce an integrated cathode-to-cell LFP battery gigafactory. The Volvo ES90 has gone on sale in South Korea with a starting price of 72.94 million won. The flagship sedan will crush up against other higher-end marques like the Genesis G80. Tesla has quietly settled with 3 out of 5 named plaintiffs, alleging its Fremont production facility was a hotbed of racism. Up to 580 other unnamed plaintiffs are still suing the firm. BYD had a busy week this week, officially opening sales in Japan for its first all-electric K-Class car, the Racco EV. At the same time, it teased pictures of its new Seal 06, while its Great Han is now being prepared for its official launch later this month. The London Ambulance Service has officially expanded its all-electric fleet with 37 new electric ambulances and 40 new fast-response EVs. Its fleet now includes more than 120 EVs. Porsche has confirmed that it will be laying off more staff at its facilities as budgetary concerns bite. The brand hasn't officially cancelled the Taycan, but the model's demise is now looking increasingly likely. Stellantis has sold its free-to-move car-sharing business to German firm Muates, closing by year-end. Muates plans to keep expanding the fleet's EVs across Europe and the USA. Volkswagen is reportedly in advanced talks to give Chinese battery maker Gotion a majority stake in PowerCo's Suanto Spanish facility via a joint venture. PowerCo denies plans to cede control. ESG Solar has opened a megawatt truck charging park near Kassel, Germany, combining MCS charging with on-site solar and battery storage. It's one of Germany's first public MCS sites. Thanks to a deal with contract manufacturer Steyr Automotive, Chinese brand SuperPanther has begun European series production of its e-Topaz 600 electric tractor unit, avoiding tariffs. Spart has confirmed that its number 1 electric SUV is getting a major facelift and battery upgrade for the new model year in China. The model will gain an 800-volt system architecture and charge at up to 6C. ACEA data shows electric truck registrations rose 47.7% in the EU during H1 2026, while electric bus registrations grew 56.8%, now making up 27.7% of all bus sales. Chinese firm Hongqi has unveiled a new ultra-fast charging battery that it says can offer up to 12C charging rates. This translates to a 10 to 70% charge time of under 4 minutes. Freenow by Lyft and Baidu-owned Apollo Go have launched a new robotaxi trial program in the UK. The trials are the first step in implementing a commercial partnership in the city. And finally, for the shorts, Tesla is asking a federal judge to intervene in an ongoing standoff over Cybertruck production tooling. It alleges its supplier is preventing it from accessing dies that it had handed over for production. And those are your news shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are coming right up, but first, a quick word about long-time video sponsor Energy Sage. It's a great way to get trustworthy, verified solar experts, whether that's for solar panels, getting a heat pump installed, or for those of you who rent, joining a community solar program. It was Energy Sage I used when we put solar panels on the roof of our home 5 years ago, and our panels are still churning out electrons every day. So it's well worth it as the cost of utility provided power keeps rising. And while US federal incentives for solar aren't around anymore, it's worth using Energy Sage's network of local experts to help navigate the regional and state incentives that may still exist in your area, as well as finding local financial institutions that very often have special deals for solar panel loans, allowing for a low, manageable monthly payment. And of course, if you choose to use an Energy Sage provided installer for your project, we'll also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. And now it's time for our final two stories. You might not know this, but mining companies are quickly becoming one of the most important consumers of electric vehicles. Not vehicles you can drive on the road, but massive battery-powered plant machinery and dump trucks. The finances for it make total sense, since mining trucks can use the added weight of being fully loaded to recharge their battery packs for their empty return trips to the mine, and their lack of tailpipes makes them safe for use in enclosed spaces. And since most heavy plant haulers are diesel-electric already, using generators to power onboard motors that drive the wheels, replacing diesel with a battery pack makes total sense. And this week, the CEO of massive Australian mining company Fortescue got to test out the brand's latest purchase, an all-electric, custom-built 150-ton mining truck. The look on his face in the video he shared to LinkedIn is somewhere between little kid getting to drive for the first time and the smile of someone who's just realised how much money he's going to save. And finally, like them or loathe them, autonomous robotaxis are quickly becoming a common sight in many cities around the world. And while some people, including myself, are wary of their operational capabilities, given how many documented violations we've seen robotaxi commit on open roads, new data this week from the IIHS says that Waymo's vehicles are crashing 68% less frequently than the average human driver. The IIHS made this conclusion after examining federally mandated robotaxi crash data, and while that's amazing news, less exciting for Waymo is the news that its self-driving cars keep racking up parking tickets in Austin, Texas, where it operates a fleet of robotaxis. Apparently, while Waymo's driving skills are improving, they still can't identify where they can and cannot park. And on that note, we are done for today's show. But first, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring the show. The EVA has been around since 1967 and is firmly committed to a cleaner, greener future for everyone. Join the EVA today, become an EV educator, and find ways to accelerate your own transition to electric. If you haven't made the switch yet, head over to myeva.org for more info. And thanks as well go to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to start planning your energy-independent future today. And of course, thank you. If you're able, please consider supporting us using one of the methods I mentioned earlier in the show. Supporting us can also mean sharing our content, joining our Fluxer or Discord communities, promoting us on social media, or using our affiliate links, all of which are listed below. And if you're new to the channel, hi! Please give us a sub wherever you happened to watch us. Finally, you matter, you're important, and I am very glad that you are here watching this show. This week, this year, has been horrible for many people I know, and that I know you also know and care about. And that can lead us to feeling overwhelmed, disheartened, and hopeless. But I want you to know that as long as we keep showing up, change is possible. And a better world is possible. A cleaner, greener, safer, smarter, and more equitable world must be one rooted in justice, fairness, and a shared goal. And that only can happen when we all work together. And you being here today is that first step on a very important journey. So until next time, be your authentic self, whoever you are, wherever you are, and whoever you love. You're all part of this amazing, wonderful journey we are all on together. As always, keep evolving.